Welcome to Disaster Party Podcast. As always, I'm Rob Cedeno, joined by my co-host.
Oh, whoa, daddy. It's your boy, Andy Biffian. It's B.I. V-I-A-N-S. For I am the one true whoa daddy. Biffian's INC in studio. Whoa, your American echo. Tonight, it's Wakanda Forever in Heaven. So we're on episode 87.
We are going to be talking about Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, the sequel to Black Panther.
Damn it, it's already got me crying.
Andy, what did you think of this movie, man?
I loved it. It was sad. Very sad.
It was really sad.
At the same time, I think they paid an amazing tribute to Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm. I think they did a good job explaining, they made it make sense. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't just write him off. They didn't recast him. They didn't kill off a character. They started with...
he did die, but...
Well, yeah, but, they started in, turmoil. They started in the heart of a problem.
Yeah, they did.
And then that's where it hit you right in the feels.
Yeah. So, the movie opens with Suri in her lab, and she's trying to, find... basically, she's trying to recreate the harp-shaped herbs. And if you remember in the first Black Panther movie, the heart-shaped herb is what gives, them the power, the Black Panther power, right? But this herb is also used to cure things. So in the opening of the scene, it's Shuri is trying to recreate the herb in her lab, and she's just what are my brother's vitals? And they're oh, it's 93 hearts, beats per minute. Oh, okay, I have time. Okay, what is the likelihood of this trial working? Oh, 27%. And she could see she's getting impatient. She kicks everyone out of her lab, and she could see the panic and the hurt in her, and she's trying so hard to create this. And the reason why there's no herbs left is because Killmonger, because in his greed in the first movie, wanted to be the last Black Panther, so he burnt down the area with all of these herbs being grown. So then Suri's doing all she can to, make it, and her mom comes in, and she tries to tell him, T'Challa passed, and she wouldn't let her tell her, and then she goes to her computer and was how is my brother doing? And then the computer's he has no vitals. And you just see Suri and her mom just destroyed. And this is the first 3 to 5 minutes of this movie.
So sad. And then right after that, they have the casket that has the Black Panther symbol on it. They have the whole...
Well, hold on. Let's make it clear real quick, is that after he passes, it says on the screen that it's 1 year later. Oh, no, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. So they have the Panther logo on the casket, and it's got they have the ceremony for him, and then they carry the casket out, and her name escapes me, but I'll get back to her. The one queen that's from Walking Dead,
Oh, Okoye.
Okoye. He's carrying the casket. She's bawling. She's crying, and then a ship comes and raises the casket up, so like the casket's upright, and you just see the Black Panther symbol in the sky, and then it flies into the casket, and then the plane takes off. So while I'm in the movie theaters, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is a great this is a great tribute to like Chadwick Boseman. I'm so happy like they did it this way, right? Like I'm glad they put like at least a small tribute into the movie. And then they roll the Marvel credits and it's all of Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther stuff in the Marvel like logo scene, and I'm just like,
It's from every movie he's in. It's from Endgame. It's from Infinity War, Black Panther, Civil War, like everything.
crying.
Yeah.
Everybody's crying. I'm like, all right.
But I think even before that, right? Or was it before or after that when they did like the town was celebrating? And they had like a mural up for him and everyone was dancing and like celebrating the life. You know how like most funerals and stuff, it's like all dreadful and dreary
Sad,
and people are
yeah.
sad. And like this, it was like a mixture. It was like his mom and Shuri were sad and they were the ones that were experiencing the death aspect. But then you had the whole like Wakanda were dancing and playing music and had murals and celebrating, and it was just like it was a mixture of like celebration with sadness.
Yeah. It was first couple minutes of the movie, man, and it just goes right into chaos. And
Yeah, hit hard. Yeah.
This movie does a lot of that.
Yeah, this movie deals with a lot of death and trauma.
Yeah, I'm gonna say though, I'll say it now and I'll say it again once we finish the review. But shout out to Coogler and his team and Marvel for not doing the normal superhero movie vibe where we're just going to recast or we're just not going to make a movie with them in it or explaining what happened. This was a perfect way that they progressed with the story, but also recast it at the same time. If they do it right in the future.
I will say this though. If you did not cry or don't cry during this movie, you're heartless.
Fact though.
Saying it now. Heartless.
Fact though.
There was like many times. I think I cried in the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Remind me to say this at the end, but I'm pretty sure they're not working on script and they're shooting from the hip at the end credits because of something she says.
I could see that, but okay, I'll remind you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move into the actual movie. So it is a year. It fast forwards a year after T'Challa passes away, and at this point, there's like newscasting saying like Wakanda might be weak and all this other stuff. So at this point, you have a whole bunch of people now they know about vibranium. So there's like this court, fill in the blanks if I'm wrong. There's like this court being held, and it's like France and the U.S. are basically talking about how they need vibranium. And then at this point, it shows like this, I guess this vibranium facility that there's people trying to break into, and Okoye and her team stop them. So then now back in the courthouse, the queen comes in and was like, listen, I know people want vibranium. You're not going to have it if you continue to come after it, we're gonna fuck you up. And then she brings in the people who were trying to steal it, and it was French, like CIA, like French army people, like military.
So the cool part about that was, well, first off, the cool part about that was she's in this meeting and she's talking about like how everybody's attacking Wakanda and that Wakanda's being selfish. And now that there's no king, that they should go back and like share with the world. And as you're saying this, like the army breaks in and takes over and like has everybody at gunpoint and everybody looks scared or whatnot. Then they finally crack open the safe and out walks Okoye and her women. I can't think of the name of the group, but I'll get to that. And the team turns around and everybody takes off their hats and their robes, and it's all of the protectors of Wakanda, and they're like, "Oh shit, we fucked up."
Yo.
And I think the U.S. or the other group didn't
That's
know
the
about
French.
it. No, because the French knew about it, but the French was the chick that was there.
Yeah. And the chick was saying, "Oh, we don't need vibranium," but then it was her people that were trying to get it.
Yeah, and I don't think the other guy knew, so he was like, "What are you talking about?" And then she was like, "Yo, you come from my home again, I'll fuck you up."
But then I thought that was badass because she was like, "I'm the queen now, and Wakanda is safe, and we're gonna fuck people up if you keep continuing to fuck us up." Then in the Atlantic Ocean, there's a big ship that's located in the middle, and it has a vibranium detecting machine, and it's the CIA and the U.S. Navy SEALs. And then all of a sudden, the ship is attacked by this group of blue-skinned water superhumans, led by, I knew who it was, Namor, or Namor, if you want to call him that.
Yeah.
So after all these people get killed on the ship, the CIA believes that it was Wakanda's doing, but clearly we know it wasn't. So Romanda, the queen, and Suri are basically like, the queen needed to get Suri out of her lab because she's just been stuck in the lab for the last year just trying to distract herself. And they go, they basically go to this little area just to kind of talk as, you know, mother-daughter, and they're burning their white garments from the ceremony, and basically the queen says, when you think of your brother, does he give you good memories or does it stress you out? And you know, you should burn the garments to show that you are allowing the dead to kind of have their freedom in a way. And at this point, Namor kind of shows up and gives them an ultimatum, basically saying, deliver the scientist who created this vibranium detecting machine, or he's going to attack Wakanda. So now it's this, like, the queen and Suri are like, whoa, who the fuck was that? And why does he need the scientist? Like, but the cool thing is the way they showed Namor come out of the water, because he has angel like wings on his feet, so he just like comes up from the water and just looks very intimidating. And it, like, the character portrayal was almost like he was coming to them softly, and he was like, I need your help, I would like for you to do this. And then at the end he was like, but if you don't, I'm gonna fucking attack you guys. And I was like, ooh, that was good. And Namor he's like an anti-villain. He's kind of like Deadpool. If you want to compare it to a character that most people know, is he goes with whatever benefits him the most.
Yeah. I feel like he had Killmonger vibes too, because like, well, we'll explain that later in the movie. But
yeah,
this, oh no, even here, because he came out and he was like, listen, people are searching for vibranium in our waters, in our home. We don't want them finding our civilization, and here's
And it's your fault. He basically said it's your fault because your king came out to the world showing that you guys have vibranium.
Yeah. And he's like, listen, give me the scientist so that way nobody else comes looking for vibranium and nobody else finds my home. But that if you don't, I see you as an enemy. I was like, okay, like, I get where he's coming from. A little harsh, but I get. And then he was like, and if you tell anybody about my name or who we are, we're gonna kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're gonna act as if it's like an act of like treason or something like that. And then Queen Ramonda was like, "How the hell did you get past our defenses? How'd you get through our security?" And I thought the same thing, and I was like, "Maybe he swam underneath it. Like, who knows?" Because I don't think they ever explained how he got past it. He was just.
I think he basically said he swam underneath it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Then he jumps in the water, and then Shuri turns around, and the machine is right behind them. Nobody heard the machine getting put back. It's a heavy machine. So at this point in the movie, in my mind, Tony Stark made it. Because now I'm like, oh, what if is coming into play? Like, we're gonna like Killmonger's about to show up. Like, because in What If, Killmonger saves Tony Stark, and Tony helps him kind of like build everything, but Killmonger's still looking for vibranium and still wants to take over Wakanda, but he's using the help of Tony to kind of like find everything. So I'm like, oh, we're getting Tony Stark back. I'm excited.
Yeah. So then from here, Queen Ramonda goes to Okoye and was like, hey, you need to go find the scientist. And then Okoye is like, hey, let me bring Shuri so we can get her out of the lab. So they agree to it. So they call Everett Ross, who was the guy, the CIA agent in the first one, who basically ends up saving everybody by shooting the ships down at the end. Yep. So, sorry.
What did you say? My favorite colonizer.
Yeah, exactly. So now Ross tells him that the scientist in question is an MIT student, Riri Williams. Oh yeah, Riri Williams. So before we go any further, MIT is the same school that Mary J. Watson, Spider-Man's girlfriend, who doesn't remember Spider-Man, is going. So you have now, I think, so is what's his face, his friend too.
Ned.
Yeah, so Ned and Mary Jane are in the same school as as Riri. Keep that in mind.
You just gave me an idea.
Exactly. So they go to the university, and Okoye is like, all right, let me go do it. And Suri's like, listen, I actually fit in better than you, and I can kind of mesh in with college students. A funny scene, they go into Riri's dorm. They like Okoye comes out of the bathroom. She's like, what? And then they were like, okay, we'll leave. But good luck fighting Namor with with your heater. And then she's like, wait.
She throws the heater at her. Or no, she throws the garbage can at her, and then like it does nothing, so she grabs the heater. Or, she picks up a chair and throws a chair at her. She cuts the chair in half. And she's like, you brought a spear into the school? She's like, what? It's for protection. And then she picks up the heater.
So then Riri brings him to, I guess, her garage, which she has stuff that she's working on. And she just wanted to get some stuff before they leave. And all of a sudden, the FBI is surrounding them at the garage. So they basically, Riri has like a almost an Iron Man suit, which again is called Iron Heart, which there's going to be a Disney Plus show called Iron Heart. So after this movie, this is not the last time we're going to see Riri Williams. So basically,
with that, it was not Tony Stark. It was
not Tony Stark. Yes.
But she also has the Ironheart suit, and I thought that Ironheart was Tony Stark's daughter. But I guess
no. Yeah.
I
could have told you that. But yes. I can see how you got there, though. Yeah. So now, when they're in the garage, Okoye leaves in yeah, Okoye leaves in a car, Riri leaves in her robot, and Suri leaves in a motorcycle. And they're all getting chased, and cool, 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 kind of fun chase scene. Then they get to the bridge, in where they all kind of get there together, and then all of Namor's warriors jump onto the bridge, and Okoye's fighting them, and yeah, Okoye's fighting them, and Suri gets knocked out. Uh, Riri gets knocked out, so Okoye is taking on like their general, and it's a cool fight scene. At one point, like the general stabs his like his spear into the ground and like rams Okoye into it, and then it seems like she dislocates her shoulder, and you're like fuck, and then some cops pull up, and all of the other warriors just go and kill them. And then I guess the female warrior, Namor's female warrior, was like, "All right, let's go. We gotta go." Throws like a water bomb at Okoye, not realizing that it's a water bomb. She hits it with her spear. She gets blasted off the bridge, lands into the water, and then that wakes up Siri and Riri, and they're about to take her, and Shiri is like, no, don't kill her. Take me to Namor. And so they take her to Namor, and Okoye doesn't realize that she volunteered, and she thinks that she let them down.
I think they took both Riri and Shiri to Namor. But it was cool because it's the same warriors that destroyed the boat.
Yeah.
And the guy kind of looks at her and he's like, warrior. And then they like start fighting. And then like the chick is like, I'm going to go kill these cops. You deal with whatever this is. So he's like talking to her in the background. The chick is like fighting 5 cops by herself, just destroying them in the background.
Oh, and one thing is that we forgot to mention is that Okoye fucks up like 2 or 3 of these warriors, and like you think she kills them, and they just get right back up.
Yep.
And in the next scene, when she goes back to Wakanda alone, Queen Ramonda is like, no, you're stripped of your title. You're no longer a general. Like, that's it. And even Okoye's like, I hit these guys with like a deadly blow. Like, and they got up. It was like nothing I've ever seen before. Please don't strip me of my title. Like, I want to, I want to make sure that I help get Siri back. And she's like, no, you're stripped.
That was a powerful scene too, because like even the council was trying to like back her up and be like, hey, listen, like she did, put her spear to her own husband in honor of Wakanda. Like she's fought for it. And then they were like, she's lost a lot. And then that's when Queen Ramonda had that powerful speech. She's like, I've lost my entire family. I lost everything.
And then she said, yeah, she might have put the blade to her husband. Where's her husband now? Somewhere that she can see him whenever she wants. I don't have my husband. I don't have my son. And she even said Okoye stood by Killmonger and turned her back on me. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn.
Oh yeah, when she went to, because she was like, when we went to go plead with M'Baku to help us fight the war, you stood next to Killmonger. You stood next to the throne. And then that's when the guy was like, but she stood for Wakanda. She turned her spear to her husband. She could go see him. And I completely forgot that King T'Chaka's dead too. So she lost her husband. She lost her son. And then she says, I don't even know if my daughter is alive. Because at this point, you haven't seen them yet. It's right after she took them. That's when she stabs the spear into the ground and then just walks away. And I was like, damn, that was powerful.
And now Queen Ramonda goes to Haiti to go find Nakia, who was Black Panther's love interest from the first movie. And in this scene, she gets to meet three little children, which one of them comes back at the end?
Yep.
It's the same kid. So
Catch that
basically,
until now.
yeah. So basically, she's just saying, I need someone to help me find Shuri. I need to make sure she's alive, blah, 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 blah. So, and Nakia, she takes a little convincing, but she doesn't. So now, Namor is talking to Shuri in Talokan. That's like their kingdom. And basically showing her how rich in vibranium it is. And he tells her that, like, his whole life story, how, you know, they found the same herbs, the same herbs that the Wakandans used to get the Black Panther power, and they mixed it and they drank it, similar to how, Wakandans do it, but they turned blue and they could basically only live underwater. His mother was pregnant while she took it, and when he was born, he came out not blue with the angel wings on his ankle, and he could breathe air and water. So, and he became powerful. And then he said his mother died, and they went to the land to bury her, and when they did, they saw a lot of his people, because his people were based in Mexico. A lot of his people were enslaved, and when he went there, they were trying to attack him, and he basically killed everybody that was there, and then buried his mom and went back to the ocean. So it kind of gave him like a little bit of a backstory.
It was like a reason of why, like, he wants to keep his people secret and safe.
Yeah, because he believes that every land people are the same, essentially. Yeah. So he proposes an alliance with Wakanda against the rest of the world, and he's like, let's destroy the world. Because when Shuri was sitting by the fire with her mom, she basically said, let the world burn. So he, I guess, heard that and was like, you said, let the world burn, and now I'm here to make an alliance with you, and we can burn the world together. And she's like, but again, at the same time, Riri's there. It was like, oh, I don't want to eat nothing. No, I'm not eating nothing. You never know where that came from. They're trying to poison us. So it was like kind of like comedy relief. But it was cool to see all of Talokan, and you see like the people, you see, their castles and like how they live and stuff like this. To eventually, again, we're summarizing here, Nakia finds Shuri and Williams and helps them escape. But in the attempt to escape, Nakia ends up killing one of the Atlanteans, I guess you want to call it, like the Talakans, and which doesn't help anything.
Well, she kind of has to, because like Namor is like, if anything happens, they will kill you, and if anybody tries to come and like fight us, they will kill you. That's their orders. So when Nakia gets discovered, they're like, kill the princess, and Nakia's like, oh hell no. So, and that's when she hits him with the blast, and it's kind of Shuri kind of almost gets the Killmonger treatment then, because like in the first one, the reason Killmonger is the way he is because he saw his uncle stab his father with, the Panther claws. In this one, Shuri sees like what their civilization is, and she's kind of torn. Like, she kind of wants to help them. He gives him the bracelet that like helps her, and is made. I think the bracelet's made from the same like plant and flower that they used to like turn them into who they were. So she understands. And like Namor was kind of like, I want to make an alliance with you guys. Oh, you guys killed my people? All right, this means war. So you can see where he's coming from. Like, he just wants to protect his people, just like Wakanda does. But Wakanda saw it as an act of violence against them once they took Shuri and thought they were in danger.
Yeah, even though Shuri was making some headway, I feel like, with Namor.
Yeah.
And so Namor actually describes how he got his name, because when he went up to bury his mother, there was like a priest or somebody that said like, called him like a child with no love. So that's why his name is En Amor. So like no love. So like no amor. So it goes to Namor. So Namor, you can say, or like Namor, whatever you want to pronounce it. So it basically means like he basically says like my name means like a child with no love,
Yeah.
or my enemies know me as that.
Didn't they call him like Clue Clan or Clue Clan or something like that?
Oh yeah, there was like some weird, elaborate, long name for sure. But this scene was really cool because Namor does come to Wakanda with like his people, and they do some fucking damage.
Yeah, they destroyed Wakanda.
Sorry, they destroy a lot. And the Wakandans have their like ships, and they're trying to shoot him, and he's just like jumping and just fucking people up, and to the point that Queen Ramonda is in like, I guess, her throne room with Riri, and he puts one of those water bombs, and it basically blows up the glass, and water just goes into the throne room, and Riri ends up going like almost drowning, and Queen Ramonda saves her and brings her to the top. But then I believe Nakia and Okoye and who's the monkey guy? Baku?
M'Baku.
Yeah, M'Baku and Suri they all walk in, and they see that Queen Ramonda has now drowned. She drowned saving Riri Williams. And Namor is standing there, and he goes to Suri and goes, "You are now the queen. I will be back in a week with my full army. Basically, if you don't accept my terms."
Yeah.
So now all of Wakanda is relocating to Jambari Mountains, which is, they're going from basically the desert-esque, very hot, to like a snowy mountain. So at this point now it goes back to Elliot Ross, who he is arrested by his ex-wife and CIA director Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, which she was in Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier. She was introduced, and she was in Black Widow, I believe, for a short time too. I didn't know they were married, but she basically shows up in his house and was like, "I tapped your phone. I heard that you've been going back and forth with the Wakandans, and because of that, you are getting arrested for exchanging classified information with the Wakandans."
And the cool thing about that too, that entire like series of scenes is that Namor threw like 10 to 15 water bombs at the window after he hit it with like his spear deal. And then M'Baku is kind of like, M'Baku promised T'Challa that he would take care of Shuri and watch over Shuri while she did everything. So they have like the funeral for Queen Ramonda, and he was like, "Well, what do we do now? Like, do you become queen and you keep your people here, or should I take them up to the Jabari Mountains and keep them safe there?" She's like, "Why are you counseling me?" And then that's when he tells him about the promise to bring them up there. Also, the CIA agent Ross found her Wakandan beans,
Oh, the beads, yeah,
on the bridge, and then that's when his ex-wife like bugged it because she knew, like, she already got there beforehand. And I guess someone was telling me that she is Black Widow's sister. No, or she was in Black Widow as like one of the. Was she one of the widows?
No. I don't think she's one of the widows. In the comic book, she's actually Nick Fury's wife.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
that's why they did that because
yeah,
Fury wasn't in it.
maybe.
But
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. So at after again, uh, Queen Ramonda's funeral. So now Shuri has lost her father. What you have to say? Well, if she wasn't blipped, which I don't think she was, so she lost her father like 7 years ago, her brother a year ago, and then her mom. She again, the rest of the Wakandans are going to the mountains, and her and Riri Williams are back at her lab, and Shuri uses the remaining, the remnant of the herb that Namor's people gave, that like from the bracelet. Namor gave um, Shuri a bracelet that was his mother's that had some kind of remnant of the herb. So she constructed that with the data that she had, to actually finally recreate the heart-shaped herb that she wanted to create to help her brother. So, oh, Nakia's there too. So she ingests it just like T'Challa did, and she ends up gaining the super abilities of the Black Panther. But while she goes into the ancestral plane, because that's what happens, she thinks she's going to see T'Challa, her mother, her father, anything like that. But she actually sees Killmonger. And I'll let you go. I'll let you go into this scene, Andy.
This scene was awesome, and I'm excited that they had Killmonger in this scene. Because when she goes into the ancestral plane, she sees the chair, so she thinks she's gonna see her mom. And as she's walking around the throne, which looks like it's inside the where all the heart-shaped herbs was, where Killmonger burned down in the beginning, it's Killmonger sitting in the chair. So I think he says like "What's up, niece" or something like that, which is funny. Funny callback to his "Hey, auntie."
Yeah.
Um, and he's pretty much like, we're a lot alike. And she's like, we are nothing alike. She's like, I want Namor dead. He's like, I wanted revenge too. I understand what you wanted. And she was like, you're not like your brother. You mean you are a lot alike. And then the fire and flames start engulfing the like the walls, and
Like the
almost
throne
the
room.
same scene. Yeah, almost like um, the same shot of when he's standing in the throne room and he's burning all the herbs, which is kind of cool. And it's kind of her just getting angrier and angrier. And she's like, I lost my brother. I lost my mother. And it's all because of Namor. I want Namor dead. And as she's getting angrier and angrier, the flames are just starting to rise. He's like, exactly. And then they bring her back, and
She's all
Nakia
upset.
says, who did you see? And she's like, I didn't see anybody. It didn't work. And then she's getting angrier and angrier, and then she like hits one of the cabinets, and it flies across the room. She's like, I think it worked.
Mhm. But
So
then,
then
if you notice, at this point, she goes to pick a suit, and she sees T'Challa's helmet, and then she
Yep.
sees Killmonger's helmet, and she picked Killmonger's helmet.
Yep. Yes, she did.
But
Which
then
was
this was a cool
awesome.
scene. Now, M'Baku is talking to, like, I guess I don't know, the tribe,
Council? Yeah.
the council. And all of a sudden you see a spaceship or like a ship come above it, and then someone just fall all the way down in front of M'Baku, and it is Shuri in the Black Panther outfit.
Which was fire. And if you notice, it had the same exact, almost the same exact pattern as Killmonger's suit, but
Uh-huh.
just in a different color.
It was still gold, like Killmonger.
But it was more purple though. Like
Yeah,
it was like purple with like gold accents around it.
yeah.
Oh,
So at this point, M'Baku urges for peace, and Shuri is determined to exact revenge for her mother's death and orders a counterattack on Tolucan. Preparing for battle with Ayo assuming the position of the general. Shuri bestows the Midnight Angel armor upon Okoye, who who in turn recruits Dora, and so in this time, the whole before this, Suri's working on these outfits for like the Wakandan guards, like Okoye and her group. And the whole thing is, Okoye is just keeps saying, no, she doesn't like it. No, it's ugly. She doesn't like it. And then when she's finally done with it and says, Okoye, I have a suit, she goes, oh, how many of these suits do you have? So she only has two. She has one for Okoye and one for Dora. And then in the same time, because again, Namor was said he was going to come back in a week. So they're trying to do this before he comes back. So now, while the Midnight Armor is being finished and Okoye and Dora are getting it, Riri Williams is creating an Iron Man-esque power exoskeleton to help also. And they realize that Namor, he gets more powerful as he touches water, and that's why they looked at like footage of the battle, and every time he would fight, seem to get weaker, go back in the water, come back out, get stronger. So they basically have this whole plan to entrap Namor to dry him out. So the Wakandans lure Namor and his warriors to the surface, to this like ship, and so basically the whole battle is going. You have Okoye in the Midnight Angel armor, which is a comic book. I don't know so much about it, but that's definitely comic book accurate. So they're fighting. You have Ironheart fighting. You have M'Baku. You have all these people fighting. It's going back and forth. It looks like the Wakandans are going to win. And so Shuri basically traps Namor in her fighter jet, trying to dry him out. But he is stabbing like the floor of the ship with his spear, which then causes the ship to crash. So at the same time, the Namor's army is now putting the water bombs underneath the ship, which is like basically teeter-totting the ship, which is giving the advantage to Namor's army. So now it looks like the Wakandans are going to lose. So Shuri and Namor are on a beach and they're fighting, and they're basically just talking to him. And at one point, Namor gets the upper hand because Shuri is being overly aggressive and not being smart about her tactics. She gets stabbed right in the stomach with Namor's spear, and he's basically crawling toward the water because he realizes he's so dried out. And then all of a sudden you have Queen Ramonda is like above Shuri, basically saying like, you could do this kind of thing. And she chops the spear and then pulls it out. And then all of a sudden she like jumps over Namor and like pins him down, and then about to put a spear through him. And she is like, she's about to stab him, and she has like all of these like flashbacks of T'Challa, her mom, Killmonger all at the same time, and she decides not to go about it. And she basically offers a peace alliance, and Namor accepts. And then that's the end of the battle of them, as Namor and Shuri return to the ship just in time to prevent from Namor's army from killing all of the Wakandans that were on the ship.
So that's a cool part about that, is that if you noticed, so in the beginning, Shuri gave Akina the daggers, and she was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, the Dora Milaje, we don't use daggers, we use spears. Give that back." And then Shuri was like, "Hold on to it." And then later on, she's like, "Yo, I need you to fight us on the same side as me." She's like, "All right, bet." So I think she has like the other armor, but if you notice, 90% of the Dora Milaje got killed, and there was like 3 members left, I think, and then you had the 2 knights, so you had Akina, and you had I just said her name,
Okoye?
Okoye. You had Akina and you had Okoye in the armor suits. You had M'Baku, and the ship is pretty much destroyed. And right before Shuri goes to stab him with it, because she's like, "I'm gonna exact revenge," her mom is like, "Show him the power of Wakanda." It's almost like, she's taking up the mantle as queen. So she's like, "All right, I'm not gonna kill you." And that's when like her brother side takes over, and he was pretty much getting his ass whooped the entire time. And then
there was a cool scene that we missed. There was a cool scene that we missed on the ship. It was Okoye versus like the general of Namor's army, the one that like fucked her up on the bridge, and they go at it again, and this time Okoye knocks him off the ship.
Yeah, and this is round 3 too, because when they attack Wakanda, the general is like, "Warrior," and then they run and they fight each other, but obviously Wakanda loses, and then Okoye sees the general on the ship again, and she's like, "Warrior," and he turns around and kind of like grins, like, "All right, let's go to war."
Yeah. So at this point now, Namor and Shuri are on the ship, and then Shuri is like, "Wakanda forever." Then the Wakandans say it, and then Namor says something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he says something, and then his people repeat it, and then Namor is back in Tolokan, and his cousin Namora, who is like the second general, is upset that Namor surrendered. And Namor actually says the Black Panther is the strongest being on the planet, and we now have an alliance with them, and when they need our help, we will be there to show our alliance, but they will one day ask us for help, and that's when we will take over the surface world.
Yeah.
So it was like, as again, Namor works with whatever benefits him the most. So he's agreed to the alliance, and he's willing to help them, but his overall goal is still to conquer the surface world. So he's going to play his part until he can take advantage of it.
I have a question on this next part.
Okay.
So after everything is done, Shuri plants more heart-shaped herbs, so that way she can ensure, the future of Black Panther and whatnot. So that way they can grow more and they'll have it again, like replenish what Killmonger took away from them. Shuri goes away for a little bit, and in her absence, M'Baku steps forward to challenge, because it is challenge day, to challenge for the throne. Now, if M'Baku is challenging for the throne, doesn't he technically have to fight Shuri?
Not if she's not there to fight. She basically forfeits it.
So she forfeits the throne. So
yes.
Is M'Baku the new Black Panther?
I don't know if he's the new... I don't think he's the new Black Panther. I think he's just like the king of Wakanda.
I thought the king of Wakanda had to be Black Panther.
That I'm not sure. I feel like they would have said that. But again, maybe that's for the next story.
Because because they have to strip T'Challa away from his powers to become the next Black Panther. And to
But
become
I don't think they stripped Shuri of the powers. I think she just didn't show up.
Yeah, but that's where my confusion is. Like, is he like, okay, he's the new king of Wakanda, but is he the new Black Panther, or
Or maybe
Shuri?
there's two. I don't know.
That'd be cool for two.
Uh, but then did you say that Riri Williams returned to MIT, but Shuri would not allow her to take the suit with her?
Which she knew would happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
that's
she
another thing we
rebuilt
missed,
her dad's car.
because it was exploded on the bridge. Yeah, I feel like they put some Wakanda tech to contact
In the car?
in the
Probably, yeah. So can I add one thing here?
car. Go for it.
In the comic books, Riri Williams is tied in with Iron Man, who is tied in with who's the who's the bad guy in Shang-Chi? Man,
Mandalorian? Not
his name is not Mandarin, the Mandarin. And it's like the clan or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like his like group.
Yeah.
So in the comic book, Riri Williams' father is a higher up in that clan, I believe.
Okay.
So if that even is somewhat close to what happens in the MCU, that means that Riri Williams is going to probably play a role in the next Shang-Chi movie, since that clan is still alive due to Shang-Chi's sister.
Okay.
So that expands that world more, because in the comic books, Riri Williams' father is still alive, even though she thinks her father's dead.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
Playing off that even more in your MIT story, I wonder if Ned and MJ helped her build the machine.
Possibly. I mean, there's always a possibility of that. I don't know. They weren't like super techie. You know what I'm saying? They were like book smart, but nothing represented that they were techie like that. So I don't know.
Ned was. Ned helped Peter bypass his Spider-Man.
Oh,
from
okay.
Tony
Yeah,
Stark.
you're right. You're right.
And maybe that leads into maybe us getting an evil Ned.
Oh, possibly. Yeah, that could
Doesn't
be.
remember Peter Parker at all.
Yeah, yeah. So when we're gonna get into more, but when I say that this movie expanded the MCU, just from the two things we just discussed, Riri Williams' father has ties with the whatever, the bad guy from Shang-Chi.
I just said it too.
Yeah, I just said it too. And his clan. So that opens up that world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then what you just said is, oh my god, why am I blanking right now? With Ned and MJ, that could play a role and expand it, because that could tie. So we could have Riri Williams could be tied in with Shang-Chi and Spider-Man now.
Yep.
And then we'll go into, all right, so now let's finish the movie. So at this point, Shuri goes to visit Nakia in Haiti. And Nakia was like, oh, I can join you. And she goes, no, I'm going to do it by myself. And they don't really tell you what she does. So she brings her funeral ceremonial robe and burns it on the beach, so she could finally grieve T'Challa and her mother. So at this point, she's burning her gown, her robe. and it's showing her like sitting on the beach, and it's like showing scenes of Chadwick as T'Challa and how they interacted, and like just him and Shuri smiling and their high fives and their handshakes and their jokes, and like you could see, like you said, Andy, that this might have been a shoot. Like that could have been her actually crying about, Chadwick versus T'Challa, and like this scene was pretty, like it was pretty emotional, and it was like final, if that makes sense. Like this was like all of us, the fans, the people in the audience, grieving T'Challa.
Yeah. What? Literally, not even just like T'Challa, but just Chadwick Boseman's interpretation of T'Challa throughout all of the movies and all of their interactions, and just like this was like a good like 3 or 4 minute scene where there was no music. You just heard the fire in the background, and you just saw the memories. And the memories just keep flashing, and it was just like, damn. All right, like this is they did such a great way of like paying tribute, paying respects to him, that like it was very well done.
Yeah.
But it's not until after the movie to where I think that's where they were talking from the heart.
And I honestly think that this mid-credit scene made the scene that just happened that much sadder. Like I was getting teary-eyed when it was showing like the scenes, but when this part happened, I like was like so
Yeah.
it literally brings it right back to that scene. And Shuri is sitting there by herself. And Nakia comes up. And she basically says, I want to introduce you to somebody. And Shuri's like, who? And Nakia says, I have a son. And it's T'Challa's. And then she goes, oh, what is your name, boy? And he goes, Tawasant. Towson, yeah. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's my name. And then he looks, Towson looks at Shuri and goes, are you good? I hear you're good at keeping secrets. And she's like, yeah, I can keep a secret pretty good. And he says, well, Towson is my Haiti name. My real name is T'Challa. And I am Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. And I was like, oh. And then even like Nakia said, T'Challa knew about him. Your mother knew about him. And your brother had a plan for him before he passed. And like, does that mean that he already has the powers? Because again, I'm asking this, and then I want all your opinion.
Okay.
If you remember, Namor's mother took the herb and then had him. And his powers were different because he was born from someone who was using the powers. So, even though obviously T'Challa didn't give birth, but he was part of the birth, you need two to tango. Does that mean that young T'Challa already has or was birthed with said powers?
Okay.
All right, now you tell me your feedback on, or your opinion on that.
See, I'm already tearing up because I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it was rough.
It's like because I'm rewatching that end scene back in my head, and all like the memories flowing through, and like it was crazy. But so my take on that, I think you could be right though. I think he does have T'Challa's. I don't think it didn't deform him like it did Namor because she was pregnant and drank it while she was pregnant with Namor. But I do think that his DNA was swiped down to his son. So his son does have the powers. And like kind of prepared him. Or maybe he had like one last herb that nobody knew about and he gave it to his son instead so his son could live. Because maybe his son had the same illness that he had.
Yeah.
But so when they're talking and like she's like Shuri asks like, did my mother know about him? And she goes, yeah, she met him. Now when you said earlier that Queen Ramunda saw him in Haiti because he was one of the little boys that was there when she went to go say hi. Now I remember that. And after he says, "Are you good at keeping secrets?" and she's like, "I can keep a secret," and he's like, "That's my Haitian name." And then Shuri asks him in Wakandan speech, "What is your name?" And the kid responds, "I am Prince T'Challa."
Yeah.
So I thought that was deep because she was like, "Oh, all right,
You
you're
speak
Wakandan.
3 languages, boy.
Yeah, all right, you're Wakandan. All right, I get it."
Yeah.
And then she was like, T'Challa didn't want anybody to know. He already had his own plan in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Shuri goes, "That's just like T'Challa, fighting battles that nobody knows about in secret, but still staying strong."
Which is
exactly what Chadwick
real life
Boseman was doing in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that line right there was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Right,
that fit perfectly.
They're speaking, like they're talking. Like this had a bigger impact on me than Paul Walker's tribute.
Oh,
did.
for sure. Yeah.
Granted, Paul Walker's tribute is still, till this day, heartfelt and powerful. But this one, I don't know, this one hit different for like so many different reasons.
Yeah.
And to go back to what I was going to say earlier, they did a perfect movie on continuing the story from where it was, ending one character's story, pretty much killing a character off, showing respect and honoring that character and the actor, and if they do it the right way, they recasted T'Challa.
Yep.
Because he says he's Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa.
Yep.
So now when he grows up in like a movie or two or like a year or two later, now he can become the Black Panther. Now he's King T'Challa. King T'Challa was always black. That was the name. But, you know, it's the perfect way that they recasted it. And now, like, for a while, Marvel has had it to where it's just like, we don't know where we're going with Marvel. We don't know where it's following. We can't really follow, like, the story. Now, if you think about it, it's literally watching the younger generation or the young Avengers grow up. So now Marvel has another span of another 10 years that they can go on this roller coaster ride with these characters.
At least. Yep.
To where if you hit another Avenger type team up and you put young T'Challa as Black Panther in it, that's hitting feels. If you put Ironheart in as Iron Man, that's hitting feels. So just that progression. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people said Spider-Man was the one that like kind of moved everything forward. I think Black Panther moved everything forward.
Agreed. Because not only what you just said is the young T'Challa could lead into so many different things. Because one, like you said, Young Avengers. They've already established a bunch of characters. And young T'Challa could be one of them. 2, they can now make it make sense, like in the comic book, T'Challa marries Storm, and Storm becomes Queen of Wakanda. So, since the mutants or the X-Men are not introduced yet, you can almost have them at like the same age and growing up as this young Avengers team grows up. And it would still make sense. Because again, T'Challa.
So I wonder if, because we already know that Hugh Jackman's coming back as Wolverine,
Mm-hmm.
is that, will they say that that is a different universe Wolverine? And then introduce a new Wolverine to create a new, younger generation of X-Men?
Possibly. But I'm just focused on what we do know. And they are clearly establishing a young Avengers. They are clearly established. They have Kate Bishop, young T'Challa, Miss Marvel, the younger... do you remember in... oh my goodness. In Falcon and Winter Soldier, the older guy who Captain America was talking to, the older guy who got the super soldier serum, his grandson becomes like a Captain America version, like a younger. I forgot what his name is, but it's not Captain America, but it's like he wears red, white, and blue.
Okay.
So you got Kate Bishop, him, Miss Marvel. You have Cassie Lang, young T'Challa, Scar. I think there's like one or two more I'm not thinking of. Ironheart.
I forgot about Scar. Oh, yeah. Yes.
So you got like you have literally a team of a young Black Panther, a young Hawkeye, a young Iron Man, a young Hulk, a young Miss Marvel, or young Miss Marvel because you have Captain Marvel. A young Ant-Man. Like, you have a team of all these people who are just younger versions of the established versions.
You realize that they can also bring back Widow's sister, and they have a Widow again.
Well, okay, here's another thing. This movie also sets up the Thunderbolts, which is already an established, already announced movie, which is basically going to have Bucky, the U.S. agent, which was the bad Captain America. It's going to have Black Widow's sister. It's going to have her father. It's going to have the villain in Black Widow. It's going to have the villain in Ant-Man 2, the girl who like teleports. Okay. So, and here's the thing. They all work for whatever her name is, the Ross's wife, Valentina. They all work for Valentina. Okay. Valentina is now going to manipulate the CIA to convince them that everything that happened was the Wakanda's fault. Ready? Here's the theory. Valentina is going to use the Thunderbolts to attack Wakanda. Bucky, who is part of the Thunderbolts, has an in on Wakanda because they helped him after Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier. They gave him his arm back, and they call him the White Wolf. Yep. So, depending on how much he turns, he can use his in to get into Wakanda without trouble, to have the Thunderbolts attack, which then would allow you have a superhuman team as the Thunderbolts fighting the Wakandans, as you also have the Talikans or Namor's army also assisting. So you could have this like mini civil war between the Thunderbolts, Namor's army, and the Wakandans, and it would make sense.
That's fire.
Because you got to remember, Valentina said Ross even said, "Leave the Wakandans alone. What do you want? The U.S. to have all of the vibranium?" And she goes, "That would be my dream."
Ooh, setting it up.
And this could also tie into Secret Invasion for the same reason, because Ross is in Secret Invasion, I'm pretty sure, and so is Valentina.
Okay.
So at some point, there could be a scroll of a character that we're not aware of that was in Wakanda Forever that will play a role in Secret Invasion. So this movie, if you don't know all the nerdy shit behind it, this movie could just be like, people be like, oh, it's just a standalone.
It's just another movie.
Just another movie. It doesn't really tie into anything. It doesn't. How is it going to push? But we have Ironheart's getting her own show. Thunderbolts are getting their own show. Or their own movie. The Younger Avengers are being established. Young T'Challa. And ties in with Secret War and the future of Black Panther as a whole.
I dig it. Hell yeah.
And technically a Shang-Chi link because of Ironheart.
I dig it. That's gonna be fire.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fire. I dig that.
Yeah. So I think we did a pretty good solid job talking about Black Panther, unless you want to add anything toward the end. No. Okay.
I loved every minute of it.
Word. Yeah, me too. I can't wait for it to go on Disney Plus, because I'm not going to go to the movie theaters again and watch it. But when it goes on Disney Plus, I'm definitely going to watch it again, because I'm sure there's things that I missed.
I want to watch it back during the IT scene or the MIT when they're on school campus, because a part of me thinks or feels that, like, if it's not Ned or it's not MJ
Flash
in the
Thompson
background, I think it's gonna be Flash. And like they won't say anything like they did for Stranger Things. Did you see the theory on Stranger Things? They had Jeffrey Dahmer walking in the background.
Oh, really?
Haircut.
Oh, because like the same timeline
and everything. Yeah. So I have a feeling that maybe Flash is gonna be like in the background, or like somebody from someplace else in the MCU. Yeah, because there had to be a lot more Easter eggs than we actually discovered.
Cool. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. For any of those people who are hating on it, fuck you.
You have no heart.
Just facts on facts. Yeah, if you don't cry, no heart. So, okay, we'll stop for there. As always, remember to like, share, review, comment, and subscribe. We're getting back on the grind. We're getting back on weekly episodes. So remember to give us a 5-star rating on all podcast apps. That would be appreciative. It would help us get back into the algorithm, help us get the listeners and all that stuff. Remember to watch us on YouTube, subscribe. I think next week we're going to do a Full Gear review, AEW Full Gear, if we end up watching it.
Yeah.
And then Andor is still going on. We could watch that. I know Sean and Brent are trying to figure out a movie review that we could do for Christmas, since that's what we tend to do.
I'm excited if we do the one that he sent.
Yeah, and we gotta figure out maybe another movie or something in between there. And then we have a couple of Know Thy Neighbors that are in the can, so we might just toss those in too.
Facts on facts. We out here.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Maybe one day, you'll catch us live on Twitch. So if you get a chance, go on Twitch, subscribe to Disaster Party Podcast, and maybe just one day we'll pop up on social media and be like, hey, we're going live. Come hang out with us. Come join us. Let's talk.
I know Andy wants me to try some hot chip challenge. I'm all for that shit. Let's go, baby.
Man, that shit killed me.
I'm ready for it. But for Disaster Party Podcast, I need to go get some sleep. I'm Rob Sedamian.